Hello, class, and welcome to my Week 6 discussion on historical newspapers. First, before we get started, I just want to say, according to course guidelines, historians must be honest and objective in their research and must be dedicated to a reasoned investigative reconstruction of primary sources. This week, we were to look at a historical database, or ProQuest historical newspaper database, and decide on a topic that would be good for American History 2 class. So I kind of wanted to stick within the realm of my possible dissertation topic of student activism and women. However, I kind of stretched a little bit farther and focused specifically on Vietnam veterans, and the idea of talking about the other side of Vietnam, not the actual war itself, but how it affected the people in the actual war. The three I found three articles. The first one is campaign focus on Vietnam reviving debates of the 60s, the Vietnam War campaign. The second one is effects of war on female Vietnam veterans. And the third is voices of a wounded generation. All three of these actually have Vietnam veterans that were affected some way from the Vietnam War, and sticking with that, idea of women in the Vietnam War. The first article I found was about the effects of the war on the Vietnam veterans. Most of the Vietnam veteran females were Army nurses that were, in the trenches with the soldiers themselves, and a lot of them were affected by the war itself. Um, Coming home, it was not something even 8 years after the fact that was focused on. The men were focused on being Vietnam veterans, but the female were not. And so the article talks about one of the Army nurses, Kathy Gunson, and her experience and how she was affected by the Vietnam War. And then it goes on to describe, specific incidences of that. The next article was a campaign focus on Vietnam reviving debates. So this article, it does focus on the Vietnam veterans, and also on the debates about Vietnam War, why the campaign so hard and all the people, the soldiers that were affected by it. So this idea of, this campaign for the Vietnam Wars to be supported by the American people, and then finding out that a lot of the Vietnam veterans that were coming home were not only not proud of what they did, but they were so confused that it was very hard for them to reintegrate into society. The last article was Voices of a Wounded Generation After Vietnam. So this one focuses on the actual Vietnam soldiers that were wounded, the Vietnam veterans that were wounded, and what they dealt with coming home to America after the war, how they were affected. It also focuses on the veteran hospitals and the veteran benefits that they were not receiving at that time. So all three articles really have this idea of a personal effect of how the Vietnam War affected these soldiers. And I think in any kind of history class, while the facts and dates are important, the personal stories are what really opens up the mind and allows people to truly understand the historical side of these events. Thank you.